I'm live. Okay. It's going to take a minute for people to catch up with me. I had an interruption in my YouTube live stream that I could not solve. I'm a newbie to YouTube live streams. My first one went fine once it was going, but I suspect that there's an issue with the amount of traffic streaming on the internet these days. And anyway, my YouTube the video wouldn't cooperate at a certain point. So the chat was still working. So this particular studio party, this is my second virtual studio party, the latter part of it. It was scheduled to be over by now, but I've spent the last 20 minutes, I think, trying to get myself sorted out. So I'm going to extend it for a while here, and hopefully some of the people attending the YouTube Live can make it over here, and maybe some other people will discover it as well. In any event, the recording will be saved, and I will share it with anybody who's interested. So, oh, something's popped up. I wonder what that is. Okay. I'll get this laptop set up properly. Right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey! Hi, Mariah. Thanks for making it over here. I'm so sorry about that happening, but as you were saying, that's terrible about that webinar you were on with all those people. I was thinking, you know, all the virtual meeting platforms and so on, I haven't had any problems with Zoom since this situation started, but they must have a huge uptick, like, I mean, massive uptick in the number of users. What's up?
Oh, I'm not.
You're not seeing video?
I'm not seeing Mariah's.
You're not seeing Mariah's chat?
Yeah, I'm just seeing mine.
Oh. Okay, well, you can check with mine. Anyway, I was in the midst, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was in the midst of cutting. Okay. Cutting Tyvek. So I will do some more of that. Okay, good. I'm thinking that I'm going to use, yeah, see, that's a fun shape. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Alright, so I think I want a nice big sweep now. And in case you're wondering, I won't just throw out the offcuts that I produce here. I'll be able to use them as well. Maybe not this particular session, but for some reason I feel like that light's not reaching me. You know, my face looks very dark here. Maybe it's just, yeah, that seems to have improved. Yeah, now my face isn't in darkness. Okay.
It's now under the pendant light.
Right, that's probably the issue. All right. So I'm putting the pieces down on here to design my layout, but in fact, when it comes to the printing, I'm going to lift these up and apply the paint and then lay these down. All right, let's see what that does. It might not be the right size for this, but we'll just see. I can make it work. Ooh, and I need one little touch over there, I think. Not even small enough. Let's make it smaller. Okay. There's my layout. So for anyone who's just joined, I was doing my YouTube live stream virtual studio party that you might have seen posts about, and we were well along. It was only 20 minutes or so to go, and the live stream cut out and we couldn't bring it back. So I decided I had to download a whole new browser. I'm on Google Chrome for this one because that's the only browser that Facebook wants for these live streams. So I had to download and install the browser and sign into Facebook and get this going after trying to troubleshoot the YouTube live stream. So I'm going to use some of my favorite gray-green Liquitex Basics paint. It's a student grade paint, but it's a good student grade paint. It's made from proper acrylic polymer and not horribly weak on pigment load and not horribly ooh, that feels so good. I'm working with, also for those of you who are just joining me, I'm working with my biggest gel plate, 12 by 12 gel plate. And it's a virgin gel plate. My first studio party I was using no bigger than 8 by 10, and it's a big difference. So I got my big brayer out for it. Okay, now I've got to quickly lay down my shapes and try to remember where they went. That's a good question. won't be the same, but it'll be related. Okay, let's try and do that. Yeah, won't be the same. There. Okay, let's try that. Oh, and I haven't untaped my paper. I got so discombobulated with that YouTube live stream that I'm not quite.
All right. Yeah, I was in the wrong place.
Were you?
Not used to it, but
Can you see this chat?
Suzanne Metz is here.
Oh, hi, Suzanne.
She says, "How are you doing? Good on you for doing this. Came to say hi, hello and goodbye. Stay safe, you and CalXO."
Thanks so much, Suzanne.
Jane Laster Gordon and Nancy Monitz are here.
Oh, good, you made it. Thank you, guys. Sorry for that terrible wait.
Terry Donovan.
Hi, Terry. That's nice. Matt Borat was with us on YouTube for a while. I don't know if you saw any of that before the live stream crapped out on us. Well into it, fortunately, but it is annoying. Anyway, let's just see what happens. As I mentioned during the YouTube live stream, this is my first time doing a jelly print on this paper with a dry medium. Yeah, okay, so my paint dried. So there's hardly anything printed on there.
Darlene Kulig is aboard.
And you can see there's still, like, most of the paint is still on there. But it's fine. One of the things I love about these gel plates is the fact, these masks, by the way, are made of Tyvek, and I improvised cutting them live on YouTube. So now I have this, which I think is kind of fun. But because I want to see through it so that I can see that ground, what I need is some transparent acrylic medium. So I'm just going to grab a bottle of that. There are different considerations when you go to a larger plate. You know, 6x6 is my sweet spot for just warming up and doing fun, easy little prints that don't demand too much of me, because you just don't have the amount of surface area to cover, and the paint doesn't dry as quickly as a result. So this is some polymer medium. And I'm not intending this to sound like a tutorial, but I figure I'm doing stuff, and I know many or most of you are going to be curious about specifically what I'm doing. Did Mira make it over? That's too bad. It was nice that she made it to the YouTube. I haven't seen Mira in quite a while because she had a surgery that was preventing her from coming to classes and things. Oh, hi, Jean. Did you happen to notice that I'd gone live? Was there a notification in your Facebook saying that I'd gone live? Okay, there's probably too much medium on here, but I'm going to try it anyway. There's sort of a sweet spot in terms of the thickness for a pickup layer, which is what this transparent layer will be to pick up the paint that I applied first. And don't leave your brayer roller down, for heaven's sake, Kim. have to tell myself that all the time. The kind of roller I have the most hours of experience working with from a long time ago was an acrylic roller for when, before graphic design was computerized, and I had to do paste ups. And in that case, it was fine to leave the roller side down because it didn't have paint or ink on it.
Lisa J. Irvine.
Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. All right, everybody say a little prayer. The printmaking prayer. I don't know if Barb's on here, but she'll be familiar with that prayer, I think. Okay, it's not all coming up. It's definitely not all coming up. Let's see if I can get more of it up. Let's burnish it a little harder. I'm noticing this paper is different too. And the fact that I've drawn on it with chalk pastel beforehand will change it, but the paper is much more fibrous, and so I'm not sure if it's well suited to this process. Yeah, it's leaving a lot of fiber on the...
Darlene says she'd be swearing when stuff like that happened.
Well, I have seen your paintings, Darlene, so I know you like some control, right? Whereas I'm the queen of chaos. So I have a partial print, which is not obviously what I was hoping for, but I'm certainly not going to despair, because that can become the base, a base layer for something. But I'm also learning from this process. This is the very first time I'm using this paper, which is this Japanese sumi-e paper from Curry's. It comes on a roll, 18 inches wide, and it's mulberry based. And it has very different characteristics than what I'm used to working with. And that's part of what I'm trying tonight, right? So I'm experimenting. As I mentioned at the beginning of the YouTube live stream before it cut out, this is not cooking show style making. You're seeing a version of what I do in my own studio, which is I'm going to try some things, some aspects of which I've never done before, maybe a combination I haven't used before. And it's so typical of me to just decide to do that live in public. But I also think it gives people an honest view of, what certainly my practice looks like, in that I'm always trying things that I haven't done before.
Dave Munzel joined.
Hi, Dave. How the heck are you? So glad you could join us for a little or a lot. I'm going to stay on a little rather extra time than I had originally planned because of the interruption between my with things going wrong on the YouTube's live stream in the last 20 minutes. So I'd like to actually, try making something. So one of the things about the jelly plates, they're very flexible and they're wonderfully resilient. You can push in, it resists at a certain point, but it has a nice give. But you can also see what you've got that will print by flipping it over. Okay, and so that's what can help me make decisions about what I'm going to lay down next. So I think I'm going to use these masks again.
Jane says she has that paper too, and she thinks it may work better with watercolor or ink.
Yeah, exactly, for wet media. Exactly. But I don't know until I try. It's just like in the YouTube live stream, I tried the smaller sheets of laid finish Sumier paper and got that incredible black out of willow charcoal, which I've never seen get black. And so that was a totally unexpected outcome too. Now its finish, I think, would probably, why don't I get a piece of that? That's this paper here. I think it might print better. Why don't I try something? And I stick. Yeah, I got an idea. Is that what I want? Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, good. Maybe I'll get my other broom.
John says she can't get her art stuff right now, so she's just going to hang out and watch.
Yeah, that's fine. It's also, this process is pretty stingy with paint, which is nice. You actually probably spend more time removing paint than adding it to get the right layer. I'm going to use a smaller brayer for this because I'm not going to cover the whole plate. That'll open up hopefully some interesting possibilities as I build up. You can build up layers on the plate. In fact, it's in my case, I find it usually unavoidable. And you get wonderful effects, though, as a result of that. And, okay, let's try this. Don't feel you have to lay down the paper straight. If you'll get something more interesting by laying it down diagonally, as I have just done. Okay, yeah, this looks promising to me.
Jane says, love the color.
Yeah.
Dave says the college is completely shut down.
Yeah.
Terry Donovan has to go now. It's great to see you almost in person. Thanks for doing it.
Nice to almost see you, Terry. Thanks so much for coming. So there's my little print from there, and let me peel this off and see if I have anything. Yes, I have some paint remaining there, so let's get another piece of paper. I was hoping. I'm so sorry about the college being closed down, like all the rest of the colleges, presumably. And I feel for everybody, especially the students who are generally in intensive programs anyway. Now, do you see what's happened there? So I lifted my mask, and the mask, I had inked before laying my mask down, so the mask protected some of the paint. And so when I lifted the mask, I could do another print. And when I lifted that print, it also lifted some of the paint that was underneath the fresh paint that I had put there. And so you get this wonderful, rich, textured, corroded effect that is one of the great things about gel printing, in my opinion. Not just my opinion, but including my opinion. So let's see what else. Might as well try making something out of this. So one of the things I did this time was I added open acrylic medium from Golden Acrylics, and acrylic mediums have acrylic polymer in them, which is the base for the binder for acrylic paint, and it means that they don't weaken the paint bond at all, but they are also designed to, in some way or other, change the behavior of the paint.
Joanne Darrow's made it over.
Hi,
And-
Joanne.
And so is Pam.
Oh, Pam Bell made it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Hi, Pam. Glad you found me. So sorry about that. Out of my control, obviously, but I wish I could have solved it so we could have continued the YouTube live stream. So I've got my blue paint on, but I need to add a bit of this open medium so it doesn't dry instantly like that first layer of paint did. And I'm literally just putting a drop of medium, so you can see that using this bottle for this process doesn't go through the medium very quickly. Get this out of the way. And it gives me time to roll out the paint properly. By the way, if this jelly plate printing is interesting to you, one of the online offerings I'm going to have set up in the next few weeks is Jelly Jam, where we'll be doing jelly printing online, but through a platform called Zoom, where I'll be able to see you, hear you. We'll be able to share work. Oh, right, I forgot to put my mask down. What is wrong with me? I'm talking. That's what's wrong with me. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but I pay a price cognitively. Okay, let's lay that down. What's that other one got to? Alright. Just try. Yeah, where did I put the piece of paper I was going to print with? There it is. That would help. Okay, well, the paper is exactly the same size as the plate, so that's a little tricky. Actually, it's slightly smaller. Nominally the same size, let's put it that way. I'm printing on deli paper this time. Let's see what I got. Ooh, it still dried too fast. That's interesting. Ooh. Oh my. Let me get a white backer sheet behind this so you can see it better. Look at that texture. I can never figure it right or left. Okay. Isn't that beautiful? It looks like lichen, but on a blue ground or something. Anyway, kind of interesting. So now I will lift the masks off, and nope, the paint came up with it. Okay, so I think what I need to do is lay down a heavier layer of paint. Meanwhile, look at what's
they're
happening
gorgeous.
to these masks. Is that not beautiful? Just stunning. So the masks can end up being things that you want to collage with. So you can think about that when you decide what collage material you want to use. Or, sorry, what material to use for the mask because of that.
Pam says, love the texture.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to put a thicker layer of paint this time, and with retarder, just to see if that will lift more successfully. I think it just may have been too thin. It kind of has to serve as the glue layer, the layer that glues the paint that's already on there to the paper.
You're adding open, medium?
I'm adding open medium. I'm using some unbleached titanium and some titanium.
I said that masks look like great collage materials, and Jane Laster Gordon agrees.
Excellent. All right. Let's see what we can get here. Space is a bit of an issue now. I'm trying to get good coverage. The better the coverage, the better the results should be. And that open medium should be buying me time in terms of getting that coverage. This one I'm not going to lay the mask down. It's already affected by the masks I laid down earlier. What I should do is get another piece of paper to hit me with the burnishing. There.
I told Jane I'd see if I could steal the masks for us to collage with when you're done.
Well, the problem is I made them out of Tyvek, so they're meant to be ones I can use for a long time, but, you know, I'll think about that.
Well, if you can't find them.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't even trust Cal now. He's going to be raiding my stuff. Okay, let's peel this back and see what we've got. Ooh, I think this could be nice. From the back, it looks great. I don't know what it looks like from the front. Oh. So, do you see how the masks have shown up? Creating these fabulous edges. Okay, I do hasten to add, it is possible to get clear, more clear prints also from the gel plate, but because that first layer of green dried so quickly on me, these are all going to be this gorgeous, rich, mottled looking stuff. Here, I mean, you can see my plate still has all this stuff there. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Thank you. That's lovely. Get likes floating up, the responses things. So why don't I make another layer to pick up. I think this is a good time for some Cad Red Deep and a bit of Deep Violet, and I'll have both colors.
Jane says it looks great. Bet it would look good too with a piece of colored paper behind it.
Oh yeah, yeah, no question. I don't have any prepared colored paper that's this size. I have some small sheets that are pre-cut, but
I can bring in a piece of construction paper if you want.
okay, I have to see what colors there are. Cal's off to see what he has in the way of larger colored construction paper, maybe even the acid-free kind, who knows. Obviously, I'm applying the paint this way. You could have a palette and mix your color with the open medium, the way you normally mix things, and then use a palette knife to put the paint onto your plate. A plastic palette knife I would recommend. Okay. It's very luscious looking, I must say. This color combination is very rich and regal. If you want to visit the first virtual studio party, I did some drawing onto these plates using paint pens, and also used just felt tip pens. Not too fine a point though. You don't want to damage the surface of the gel plate, but a bullet tip water-based or alcohol-based marker works just fine. Or broader tip, of course. All right, let's try this. I'll try it on my drawing. What the hell? Oh, did you bring colored paper, or shall I just print this? I'll just print this because the paint's going to dry. Did you ever find some colored paper or not?
I brought orange, but I'm
Oh,
not.
okay.
Is that okay?
Well, I'm printing onto the deli paper first because I needed it to not dry on me.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Lizanne Eastwood says, rich and regal. That's a great description of those colors.
Thanks, Lizanne. Nice to see you. Sort of see you, anyway. Pass me that orange paper. Pull out a sheet. Right on it. Oh, I need gigantic tables.
Suzanne Metz joined.
Hey, you're back, Suzanne. That's nice. I think you would have liked the textures of some of the things I did a few minutes ago. I don't have one orange piece of paper that's big enough for the plate, so I'm doing a partial and a full sheet of the orange. And let's see what we get. Fingers crossed. Say the printmaker's prayer.
Printmaker's prayer. Printmaker's prayer.
Uh-oh. Oh,
That's interesting.
that's cleaning up some of it.
Wow.
Ooh,
Oh,
quite interesting. Wow.
it's like
Some of that original green finally came up. That's what sort of looks very bright on the orange and so on. So I'm going to do a close-up so that you can see how rich those text. Whoops. Let's try and get it better. Oops. I can't figure out left and right on this. Sorry, everybody. It's weird doing the mirror image thing. So quite really, like, I'm going to scan that in. That's pretty neato.
John Ming Mark.
Hi, John. So glad you could join us. Okay, let's see what this partial sheet looks like. Got lots of the original green off. Can you see that texture and color nicely, I hope? There, that you can see the color better now. I have daylight temperature lights, so it might make it a little cooler looking than it really is. That green has a little bit of warmth to it, but
Everyone's loving those textures.
Yeah.
Pam and Jane and John.
there's some fantastic like little. It's almost like impressionist painting in these areas that are have tiny little flecks where you can see through to colors below, and it's really really rich. So that's kind of neat, isn't it? That it's a band of it. It kind of makes me think that with a clean plate, I might assert some kind of contrasting shape that occupies part of this and slightly overlaps the band.
Donna Nickel.
Hi, Donna. This sheet, it's very low contrast, but it's quite rich. And so there's no question that would be, A, it would be a great collage paper, but B, it could also be a fantastic ground for doing more layers on top of.
Pam says, love the second orange sheet as is, just running down the edge. I agree. And Jean says, also so much depth.
Yeah, yeah, it really it you know, you build up the layers and you do get so much depth on it. Now look at my plate. So much of that original green layer of paint has been removed by that. There are some delightful little bits here, but over a surface area that's this big, I will actually clean this off.
Christine Ling says, "Yummy."
Thank you. I'm glad you think it's yummy. Do you see the? Oh, there they are, the baby wipes. Pass me the one that's open. Here. Just give me the package. Yeah, thanks. Um,
Jane agrees with PJ. Nice with orange on the side.
yeah,
Red and purple, super too.
yeah.
Lots of good collage background material.
Oh, seriously. Yeah. This is great. I know Helen Jones does a fair bit of gel plate printing with and without her friends who also do it. And before she did my gel plate printing course last, I guess in winter term, right? She said she only did it to make collage papers. And so she knew a whole bunch of techniques for getting cool effects for that. But yeah, she went a little further in the course. So, you know, I had been thinking I would do a before all this coronavirus stuff hit us hard. I had been planning to offer a jelly jam, as I called it, at the Small Arms building, because it now has public hours and I can teach courses there. So when things go back to normal, I will do things there, but I thought I will offer an online version of that in the coming weeks. I am going to take next week off, though. I'm not going to do any work next week. I'm going to have the two consecutive Saturdays. I'll have a virtual studio party, but I will finally take a week off. I've been needing one for a very long time, and just things keep happening. The coronavirus is just the latest. There. Look at that. Just so much paint on there. I find it a little easier to clean the gel plates with the baby wipes, but of course you can use, I also use paper towel in my spray bottle of water.
Donna's going to have to catch this later. That pink is delicious, she says.
Oh, good. Yep. See you later, Donna.
John says, glad to join in. Nice random designs.
Yep. Yeah, lots of visual texture and corroded effects and so on. So I just thought this is my excuse me. It's just my usual cough. Nothing to worry about, everybody. It's my first time using my big plate. I've been saving it, I guess, for a special occasion. And so I'm sort of getting used to it. It's definitely a different experience working with this larger plate. I'm going to see if I can't get a clean shape out of it. That would give me personal satisfaction. I have kind of a crazy idea here. Let's see what happens. No, I'll just go simpler. All right. I'm going to get out these masks again, but I'll flip them over this time. So they're paint side down, which means it'll be non-absorbent side down. Not liking that. Yeah, that's more like it. Move that first one. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put the paint on with the mask in place this time. Oh, I wish I had my bright blue green. Alright, I don't, so I'll use this. Alright, I'm going to do something a little... I'm going to use this orange paper again.
Looking a little Matisse there, Kim.
Yeah. Well, that's good, right? There. Okay. Okay, it's going to be trickier rolling out the paint because I've got those masks in place. So I'm going to use the smaller brayer so I have a little more control. There we go. And of course I'm having to mix the open medium into the paint. So that's complicating my rolling out, but you know, I wouldn't recognize myself if I were just taking on a simple challenge. Hopefully this will be a nice chromatic play when I print onto the orange paper. You can see why I need the open medium, right? Because it's taking a while to roll this out. So much surface area to play with on these big plates. Okay. Smooth it out a bit. Make sure the coverage is decent. Right, I'm going to do the same thing, but maybe I'll do it at an angle this time. Get them positioned. Coming at it from lots of directions, and
Pam says, loving where this is going.
well, fingers crossed, right? Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Woohoo.
You see how the orange is coming through there? So this would be, to me, a starting point. We've got this, sorry it's curling and I'm turning it the wrong way and everything else. But I think that's quite interesting, the shapes that are coming out, the overall shape of this. But I didn't quite manage to get full filling there, but that's fine. But that's a really nice starting point, I think, for something like my next thing would be to bring in a dark
Yeah, for
in
sure.
small shapes. Be long, sharp shapes that echo. Now let's
see white.
yes, white would be maybe my next one, or actually pale blue. You know, hint of blue.
Get a little complimentary.
Yeah. But I'm gonna try and get a print. See what kind of a print I can get from what remains on this plate. I'll just take the masks off. I should get some shapes out of this. Oh, I'm going to be on there kind of crooked. It's hard when the paper's close to the same size as the... Deli paper is very nice to burnish onto the plates. It's thin and smooth, and you can see through it well, and it's not fibrous. It's very well finished paper. Well, it might be a bit too dry. No, I'm getting the edges of the shapes nicely. Ooh.
Jane said, who would have thought such a great color combo? Nice bold shapes.
Thank you. Yes. Now look at those beautiful lines. So I've only printed it on, there's nothing on this paper before I've printed those on. So that could be much more valuable. I'm going to show you some of the lovely, I need a white backer sheet. That's what I need. Because you can't see it unless I put a white backer sheet there. Okay. Look at that corner. Oops, wrong direction, Kim. So that's a really interesting way to work. So I might try laying on something that contrasts, that also has lines. For example, it could be a blue-gray.
Lots of happy icons.
And then also lay in some shape, but more restrained in terms of surface area coverage with the shape, because I think this is a good basis for a story about line. And I might even overprint this with some white or something, so that it's not quite as strong as that. Now there's a little bit of this pink down here. I might get some of that here. See if I can pull it anyway. No, I waited too long. I was too busy talking and trying to figure out my left and right. So, I think that's where I will have to end my jelly printing for now, because I didn't manage to get any dinner in before the webcast, and I'm starting to feel the effects. But I hope you enjoyed it, despite the interruptions, and maybe some of you weren't even at the YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed the portion you did see. It's really been nice having you here, and keep on keeping on. Remember to ground yourself with some sensory stuff, with some tactile stuff, with some body-based stuff, and that'll help you with the generalized anxiety that's going on these days. I can't even see where you are in the chat. I'm so far behind. Well, you're welcome, Cal, honey.
When's the next studio art party?
The next virtual studio party is on Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Please spread the word. Hopefully Saturday afternoon will be less high demand. Who knows? And in terms of the internet, or YouTube in particular. And so it'll be back on YouTube live stream. But I'd love to see you or anyone who you send along to it. It can be very good for people who, for anybody, but especially anyone who's feeling kind of anxious, even at a low level. It can be grounding and comforting, and also anyone who's feeling kind of isolated or needing that company or different company than they have in their. Aw, thanks. I saw those hearts. I don't know who sent them. I'll find out soon, I'm sure. But thank you. And yeah, it's really nice being with you. So thank you so much. And I'll see you on Saturday. Okay. Take care. Bye for now.